Finally over, the 9-game road trip proved precarious for the first-place Braves. But tonight, against the rival New York Mets, the Braves are back at Turner Field, where they've been nearly unbeatable. With two dynamic pitchers ready to battle, keep it right here for the series opener. The Braves and the Mets, now on Sports South. It is great to be back home here in Atlanta, Georgia, and of course Turner Field, where the Braves get set to open up a big 3-game series with their division rivals. The New York Mets are in town tonight, and all year long, Braves baseball on Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors, the right stuff, and the low price. And hi again, friends. Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. Great to be back at Turner Field after a very rough road trip. Braves dropped 3 series in a row away from this ballpark. But enough of the bad news. Let's get things turned around tonight against the New York Mets.
Well, no better place to do that than at Turner Field for the Atlanta Braves, Chip, because they have the best home record in baseball, and they hope that that continues against their interdivision rival, the Mets. Braves 34-13 at home and 9-5 against the National League East. They're scoring more runs. They're hitting better. Their ERA is much better. And as we said, the best home record in baseball hopefully will continue against this New York ball club, who conversely is not very good on the road. They've lost 9 of their last 11 road games and 10 of their last 15. So maybe the Braves, with that combination of good and bad, it'll work to Atlanta's favor to get back on the right track.
Right now, the Braves are 2.5 games above the Phillies in the division, but the Mets lurking 6.5 games back, a chance to bury them with a very good series at home. And speaking of very good, how about this pitching matchup to start the series? Johan Santana for the Mets. Braves ace Tim Hudson takes the ball in Game 1, and we'll talk about their series and their season when we come right back. Park in Atlanta as the Braves take on the New York Mets in Game 1 of our 3-game series. Chip and Joe back with you tonight at the ballpark. And it's Tim Hudson going to the mound for the Braves. Joe looking for his 12th win. He'll be the starter and hopefully a stopper as well.
He's been the ace. I mean, really from day one, Chip, the way he's come back from his arm surgery. This year, his first full year back from that. His arm's sound. He's got all his weapons, and he's pitched well against the Mets, too. Pitched against them back early in July and shut them out over a 7-inning period. Gave up only 4 hits. But that's just one of 6 starts. Actually, 4 out of his last 6 starts where he's given up 1 run or less. He's on top of his game. He's the perfect guy in the right place, right time, if you want to put it that way, for the Braves to get back on the right track offensively and with a win tonight against a team that they're trying to put a little bit farther back behind them in the rearview mirror, the New York Mets. And his 9 starts this season at home, a 6-3 record with an excellent ERA, as we talked about earlier. Braves with a good record here at home, and Tim likes pitching here.
And Johan Santana likes pitching against the Braves. A 2.01 lifetime ERA is spectacular, but he's only 2-5 against the Braves, and that's the number we hope certainly improves from the Braves standpoint.
Yeah, he doesn't give up a lot, so the runs will come at a premium.
Great matchup. A great night for a ball game in Atlanta. We're delighted you're with us. Stay tuned. We will be back to Turner Field with a look at tonight's starting lineups and our first pitch in Game 1 of this Braves-Mets series. One of our series, and we are glad you are with us tonight here in Atlanta, Georgia. Interesting homestand for the Braves. We've got the Mets, we've got the Giants, and a great way to start it off as Tim Hudson and Johan Santana square off again. Here's the Mets batting order. New York comes in 6.5 games behind Atlanta in the East. Ike Davis, a real Rookie of the Year candidate, a slugging first baseman, and Joe, he's hit a couple of tape measure shots against Braves pitching this year.
Just rockets. Real long shots, especially at Citi Field, but they'll be facing Tim Hudson tonight. And he's only given up 10 home runs in his first 21 starts of the year. He's 11-5, a 2.40 ERA. We talked about that good start in New York on July 10th. His last 3 starts overall against the Mets, outstanding, 3-0 with a 1.71 ERA, and he is 6-3 here at home with a 2.31 ERA. Right-handers only hitting .204 against him. His 4 keys to pitching success tonight. Number 1, no-no. That doesn't mean he's got to throw one. That means if you're thinking about making any changes in the way you're pitching, Tim, no. Leave it alone. Just keep doing what you're doing. And two guys that are hot in their lineup right now, Angel Pagan and David Wright. Everybody else is scuffling a little bit. Naturally, you got to keep Jose Reyes off the bases. But Pagan and Wright are the guys you don't want to beat you right now, given the plight of everybody else being pretty cold.
So it looks like, at least on paper, all of the numbers and all of the stats and all of the trends are squarely in the Braves dugout at the start of the series. But as we all know, you got to win. Can't worry about the numbers. And we'll see if Atlanta can do that tonight behind Tim Hudson.
Well, Martin can work on all the choreography he wants. He's on the disabled list now. The Braves have called up Diori Hernandez.
First pitch of the game is a little high. Ball one. Jose Reyes, 7 homers, 38 runs batted in. An injury-plagued year for him, and frankly, a lot of these Mets regulars we've seen in the last couple of years.
Come to town for this series missing Jason Bay. He's hurt.
He ran into the wall in Los Angeles last week and is disabled with a concussion. And how about that swing from Reyes to start the game?
Strikeouts have been coming quite often for Tim Hudson. Good off-speed pitch there with some good sinking action on it. His last start at Washington, he beat them 3-1. Pitched into the 8th inning and finally gave up a run in that ball game. Walked 1, struck out 7 in his 7 2/3. How about those numbers? Again, 4 of his last 6 starts, 1 run or less.
And here's the first one of those men you say Tim has to pay extra attention to. And those numbers tell you why.
He's 12 for his last 36, but as important to that is if he gets guys in scoring position, he's been a tough out. He's hitting over 380 with runners in scoring position.
And Pagan has a 7-game hit streak. So Carlos Beltran is back in the lineup and back hitting third for Jerry Manuel's club. Beltran had surgery in mid-January to try to clear up some arthritis in his knee. And he's been very slow coming back, hitting just .218.
And that's where none too happy about that surgery and how late it was performed.
The pitch a ball. The Ross throw is not nearly in time. And the Mets, who lead the National League in stolen bases, have their first in the first inning in the first game of this series.
David Ross could not get a grip on this baseball. It was down and in, and they kept grabbing for it in the glove and didn't have a full grip on his leg. He was out right on the tips of his fingers when he let it go.
So Beltran ahead in the count.
And this guy's no chopped liver. I mean, I listed the 2 guys that are hot right now, Pagan and Wright. Carlos Beltran in his career, a .371 average against Tim Hudson with 4 home runs.
But they really need him to be the Carlos Beltran before surgery.
Exactly.
And pretty quickly.
Yeah, they're not playing good baseball right now. They've lost 6 out of 10. They've fallen into a third-place tie with the Marlins, 6.5 back. Certainly not out of the race by any means, but they've got to start playing better on the road. They're just playing horrible baseball on the road compared to a good record at Citi Field.
And those road woes continued right after the All-Star break, when the Mets lost 9 of 11 on a Western road trip. And this upcoming week isn't going to be an easy one for them either. As you see the standings, Mets and Marlins with identical 53 and 52 records, 6.5 games out of first. Braves a chance to bury him further back with a good series here at home.
That last pitch, a purpose pitch, trying to get it to back up over the inside corner, but at the very least keeping Beltran honest in case Tim, now on a 3-2 count, wants to go back down and away.
But missed across the shoe tops, and 2 are on with 1 out for David Wright. Wright has the 6th highest batting average in the National League and has already knocked in 77 runs. But if you're looking for a positive number for the Braves, David Wright just 3 for 26 against Braves pitching this year. That's a 115 batting average.
Well, let's hope that continues because they've figured out something.
And here is the Academy Sports and Outdoor leaderboard.
He might have a chance to catch and pass Ryan Howard, who sprained an ankle yesterday. Howard will get a day off today because the Phillies are idle, but he may be out of the lineup for a few days.
Pagan's going to try to steal third, and it's popped to right. Jason Hayward is under it, and Pagan safely back with 2 out.
He got a good jump too, but he had to hustle back because of the pop-up. Chip Hale waving him back. So a tough out retired. And now a guy that, as you said, Chip, has been a tough out for the Braves this year, especially with the long ball.
3 of those 15 home runs have come against the Braves for Ike Davis.
He really has a swing that almost looks like a pitcher, the way he winds up and turns his shoulder and body. Like if you throw it where he's swinging, look out. And he likes the ball down and in. Oh, that was a good slider there. Late breaker. Threw it at the outside corner, wound up on the inside corner.
Wally Bell calling the balls and strikes tonight. Ike Davis wasn't in favor of that call and is behind in the count.
Temperatures are in the mid-80s tonight, and it was supposed to be a lot hotter than that today. Heat index was supposed to be like 105 in Atlanta, but we've had cloud cover all day, so it's still humid, and the guys are still going to work up a pretty good lather, but it's not as uncomfortable as it was supposed to be.
Hudson ready with his 20th pitch of the opening inning. Broke the bat of Davis, and on the infield, Infante puts the squeeze on that. Mets strand a pair in the first. Braves coming up at home. No score.
Clear.
And it's a lineup that features left-hand pitching killer Matt Diaz in the cleanup spot for the Braves. And not only, Joe, has he killed lefties, he's really hit Johan Santana hard.
A double and a home run included in those numbers. But Johan Santana, 31 years old, 6 feet 210 out of Venezuela, is 8-5 on the year with an excellent ERA of 3.11 against the Braves. Check it out. 10 starts, a 2.01 ERA, an average of 1.6 runs per game in those starts. And in the last 9 of those 10, he has pitched into the 7th inning every time. An outstanding pitcher in his own right, 130 wins in his major league career. His keys to the game: first inning. He had a horrible start against the Cardinals in which he gave up 6 runs. And as we just pointed out, keep an eye on Diaz.
First pitch of the game is a single to right by the amazing Omar Infante.
Omar had a great series in Cincinnati. He was one guy who was hitting. He went 7 for 13, and he's had horrible luck against Santana, just 5 for 32 in his career. So he said, what the heck? Let's go after the first one, see if that helps. And another knock, and he's hit in 5 straight.
And 10 for his last 20. Now Jason Hayward bats. He, too, another hot hitter for the Braves on the road trip.
Santana, not the pitcher he was a few years ago when the Mets signed him as a free agent. By that I mean, doesn't throw quite as hard. That fastball at 88. He still has a very good changeup. He's always been a fastball changeup guy, but he doesn't throw it too often to left-handers, and they actually have a higher average against him than right-handed hitters.
Jason right now has unbelievable command of the strike zone. He's been walking a lot, taking counts deep, and now ahead 3-0. And a 4-pitch walk sets it up for Chipper.
Well, what he did yesterday with that 2-out hit in the 9th inning when he turned it into a double. That drew the admiration of all of his teammates today. And watch this, right out of the box, just a ground ball up the middle. He turned it into a double with great hustle to put the potential tying run in scoring position. David Ross said, you know what, that reminded me a lot of my rookie year.
Here's Chipper. And Joe, right out of the chute, the Braves have an opportunity in this first inning to do some damage.
And as we've been saying, Chip, for weeks, Braves have got to have production out of Chipper. They've got to have RBIs from him no matter what his average is.
Chipper's knocked in 42 men on the year.
He went 6 for 29 on the road trip with 5 RBIs. Which is really not bad out of 9 games. But when nobody else is driving in any runs, it's like you gotta, it's almost like, okay, but we gotta have more and more and more. But here's that first inning issue for Santana. First inning opportunity for the Braves. Got to get after him.
David Wright at third. One there, ball dropped, but on the transfer, they'll call Hayward out. Castillo might have heard the hay train coming down the tracks. And they're at the corners with one out for Matt Diaz.
That could turn out to be a huge play in this ball game already. Castillo came back from the disabled list a couple of weeks ago, but he really didn't have his hand anywhere near the glove when he made that catch. So in the process of bringing the two together, he didn't make a very good transfer, and if the Braves can capitalize on that by even getting a sacrifice fly here and taking the lead, it could be huge.
So first and third for Diaz. That's another reason why Matt's in the lineup tonight. Joe pointed out the outstanding head-to-head numbers with Santana.
Well, if you were with us on Braves Live today, you heard Ron Gant talking about one of the things to watch for this game was how Santana pitched the Braves in New York when he beat them 3-0 the last time he saw him. 7 innings of 5-hit shutout ball, and he elevated a lot of fastballs and got guys to chase it. And that was the case in the first pitch to Matt here. I don't think Johan Santana doesn't know that. Left-handers came in the game hitting .275 against Santana. Right-handers just .236, and only .198 against him with runners in scoring position.
Base hit to left. Infante scores. Chipper on his way to third. Diaz stands at second, and the Braves break through in the first.
The only reason that Santana's average against him with runners in scoring position is up to 198 is because the Cardinals went 5 for 6 against him in his last start. Try to run a fastball by Matt, and again, he's not throwing as hard as he used to, and Diaz with a quick swing adds to his numbers against Santana and puts the Braves on top and puts 2 more into scoring position.
Well, 1 is nice. 2 or 3 more would be terrific. At shortstop, Alex Gonzalez, who hit his first Braves homer yesterday, ready to rock and roll in the opening inning.
Got a hanging changeup yesterday from Edinson Volquez. Nice easy swing on it. His 18th overall for the year.
Good stop by Blanco. Good hustle by Santana. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Henry Blanco's going to get a large part of their catching duties right now because Rod Barajas just went on the disabled list. They're missing him too, with what I believe is an oblique strain. Henry, a former Atlanta Brave and an excellent defensive catcher. Or someone near and dear to us used to call him Hank White.
Two. When we were up in New York, the Mets also signed Michael Barrett to a minor league deal. So he's in their system in case somebody else goes down, or at least was a couple of weeks ago. Diaz at second, Chipper at third. 1-2 to Alex. To second, Castillo backhand, double clutch coming home, and Chipper out by a couple of feet. 4-2 on the putout, and even with Castillo stumbling, he was still able to throw out Chipper for the second out.
It's because Chipper hesitated. He didn't break right away. Watch Chipper. He gets his walking lead, and the ball's hit. And he stopped right there, hesitated, and then by the time he broke, Castillo had righted the ship. And Jones was an easy out.
So Castillo cuts down a big second run potentially, and it brings up first baseman Troy Gloss. Troy had most of the day off yesterday in Cincinnati to try to let him clear his head. His numbers, at least as far as the production, have been stuck at 14 and 61 for a while.
He's going through the second longest spell of his career without a homer. It's over 100 plate appearances now. These are the numbers for the year in terms of the stretches and when he was cold, hot, and back to cold. His last home run June 19th against Kansas City here. Backdoor breaking ball there. Best fastball of the inning at 90. But again, a little bit like the pitch that Hudson made to Beltran up and in, kind of a purpose pitch. Blanco wanted it up, but not necessarily that close to being around the chin.
And he couldn't cut off the outside corner.
Johan's numbers against the Cardinals ugly, but he was taken off the hook. He got no decision. Career high 13 hits, 7 runs, 6 of those came in the first inning. His teammates came back to tie the game up, only to lose to the Cardinals 8-7. Now an interesting decision for he and Blanco with a left-handed hitter Ankiel on deck. Do they give in to Troy and throw a strike? We know he's been struggling. 4 for his last 30.
Bases loaded.
And they didn't give in. They threw a changeup.
So Santana likes the lefty-lefty matchup. And a chance for Rick to pick up his first Braves hit after debuting yesterday against the Reds.
Hit 2 balls hard yesterday, too. 1 to short, 1 to first, right at the fielders. 2 for 6 in his career against Santana, who will work out of the windup.
Oh, that got Wally Bell. There it is, Wally.
Curveball. It was hanging there a little bit and did get the left shoulder. Hopefully the chest protector of Wally Bell. He appears to be all right. Ooh, and then it kind of came back up under the mask, didn't it?
And Henry Blanco with a trip to the mound to let Wally Bell gather himself. Line drive, base hit. Diaz scores. Gonzalez scores. First hit for Ankiel, a 2-run single.
Standing ovation from a lot of the locals welcoming the new guy. Another breaking ball. He stayed right on it and delivered a big 2-out hit here for Tim Hudson and the Braves.
So that'll help that bases loaded batting average for the ball club. As Atlanta tacks 3 on for Johan Santana here in the first inning. David Ross, the 8th man in the batter's box.
David didn't get many at-bats on the road trip. Brian McCann was in there virtually every day, but he went 3 for 5 when he got some at-bats. Brian welcoming a day off today after playing the whole series in Cincinnati, including the day game yesterday.
The next pitch will be the 30th of the inning. And it strikes out David Ross. But not before the Braves get some first inning damage against the Mets left-hander. Matt Diaz with a run scoring double. And Rick Ankiel, the new guy, with a 2-run scoring single. Makes it 3-0 Atlanta. a 3-run Braves first against Johan Santana.
And a welcome home to Jeff Francoeur.
Jeff was looking forward to getting back to Atlanta because it's been cold comfort everywhere the last couple of weeks for him. Jeff has just 4 hits for the Mets since the All-Star break.
A lot of rumors swirling around about Jeff Francoeur before the trade deadline that he might be on his way to Kansas City. One rumor had him going to Kansas City in a deal that was going to bring Kyle Farnsworth to the Mets. Of course, Farnsworth and Ankiel wound up coming to Atlanta. But he's 0 for his last 15 and just 4 for his last 26.
Good piece of hitting to stay alive. Leading off the second. Count to Jeff. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Popped up. Foul ground, Gloss and Infante. And Omar makes the play. 3 straight pop outs.
And Omar's got to take just about anything he can get to over there, Chip, because Gloss's range is limited by his sore knees and ankle, but good play by Omar that time.
Our broadcast tonight on Sports South is presented in beautiful high definition by H.H. Gregg. And Matthew Kaminsky, the fine organist at the ballpark, greets Henry Blanco with a whiter shade of pale as he makes his way to the batter's box. Grounded to short. 2 outs.
Shutdown inning. Got a veteran out there who's trying to get his team back up there to hit against Santana, who struggled in the first. And as it turned out, this guy's mishandling of what looked like a sure double play ball and not able to turn it turned out to be a huge play in the inning.
Yeah, that was tough for Tommy Hanson, who had another great start back-to-back for the Braves. But took the loss despite allowing just 1 earned run and 2 total as the Reds won yesterday 2-1. And Castillo, 1 ball, 1 strike.
Castillo's another guy that's been really cold. 0 for 8, 7 for 39.
Right off the plate. Tim's got to hurry. And he throws it into the right field corner. And Castillo will round second. And he's going to make his way to third base without a throw. Single and a 2-base throwing error from Hudson.
He just didn't have any play here, especially with him being the 8th place hitter and the pitcher coming up. Some days, sometimes you just have to eat it. But Tim wasn't willing to give it up and threw it right by Troy.
But you've got the pitcher next with 2 outs. Santana hitting a $136. Is it just me, or is his ball popping extra loud tonight?
It might be popping extra loud, but it's also moving an extra inch or two. Also, really got some good life to it.
Look out!
Boy, nice duck, mister. That was close. Fans are booing. They'll get him a replacement. It sailed right over the top of that gentleman's head.
Two outs in the inning. And Santana rolls out. And Hudson has the shutdown inning he was looking for in the top of the second. And as Joe mentioned, the Braves made a roster move before the ball game, and it surrounds the man disabled, Martin Prado.
And I agree with this 100%. He says, I have to be 100%. I'm not. It's better to have someone here who's healthy than me just sitting on the bench. It's hard for me to sit around while I will be doing everything to get better and together quickly. They bring up Diori Hernandez to make sure they've got some depth in the middle infield. And I think it, more than anything, prevents him from thinking he could come back early and be okay. Because it's the pinky finger on his right hand.
Hudson sprays one down the right field line. Long run, Francoeur. Jeff will dig it out. And Tim has a leadoff double.
Tim's had a good year at the plate all around. That's his 4th double out of 13 hits. He's just been waiting, though, lately for a left-handed pitcher. He really thrives on left-handed pitching. He's been working with Diaz and Diaz with him. Pitch out away from him. He goes with it. It's a little flip of the wrist. Reminds you a lot of Henry Aaron when he does that.
So the top of the order now is Omar Infante. And how much has the play of Omar in relief of anybody who's been injured for the Braves have to do with the decision to disable Prado?
In what respect?
You don't miss him much offensively when you put Omar in the batter's box.
Oh, not at all. I mean, he's hitting 350 or close to it. And it doesn't matter what spot it is. If he's having to fill in for Chipper at third or when he was playing for Escobar at short, doesn't matter which position, just give him a bat. And maybe what prompted the DL assignment was yesterday. Remember, after Gonzalez hit the home run, he got hit on the wrist with a pitch his next time up. Now, if he had to come out of the game, they were going to have to piecemeal their infield together because they had nobody else to play. Conrad was already in the game. Chipper could have come in. Conrad could have played second. Omar moved to third. But after that, they got nobody.
In the air to right. And one out. Jason earned a walk in his first plate appearance in the game. .53 walks for Hayward. Second most on the team to Troy Gloss. Foul at first. It's 0-2.
Trying to come in there on Jason a little more when they get ahead in the count. Instead of trying to get him to chase everything away, they've been running two-seamers in on his hands. Again, Santana can't throw that. I shouldn't say he can't. He just doesn't throw that changeup too often to left-handed hitters. He delivered it there, but not to a very good place. His A1 pitch is to a right-handed hitter and turning the changeup over a little bit, running it down and away.
That's over the outside corner, and Jason, in disbelief, heads back to the dugout.
But he just threw it to Jason and threw it to the outside corner. Oh, my. About Racetracks agrees with us that, or agrees with me anyway, that one never really had the plate, and Jason knows that.
So Hudson at second, 2 outs now for Chipper Jones.
Hard to imagine that any pitcher would want to pitch to Chipper instead of someone else, anyone else behind him. But the way Matt Diaz has worn out Johan Santana, Chipper might get something good to hit.
Slow roller hit to short. And that will retire the side. Tim Hudson leads off the inning with a double, and we move along to inning number 3.
And by Georgia Power.
Great night to hang out at the Chop House. Braves enjoying an early lead. And as we head to our third inning, let's take a quick look at our AT&T Universe trivia question. Johan Santana is first among active pitchers in ERA. Tim Hudson is fourth. Who is second and third in ERA among active Major League pitchers? A bunt try by Reyes, who struck out his first time up.
It's a tough one on the ERA thing.
I mean, the first one that popped into my mind was Roy Halladay.
Well, here's some comparisons between numbers 1 and 4. Tim looking for his 160th win tonight. ERA's not that different. Both with 15 or seasons of 15 or more wins. Tim appears to be a lock to add to that this year. Looking for his 12th win tonight. Man, has he been good.
Two and two. Yeah, Tim has said that Tommy John surgery might have been a blessing in disguise. It gave him a full year off to get that shoulder rested. He's got his arm angle back to where it was in his Oakland A's days. And not only tonight is he going for his 12th win of the season, but his 12th win against the Mets in his career.
When you've got that many options to go to, especially for an out like in this count, 2-2, you're tough to beat because there's so many different things a hitter's got to adjust to.
Fouled over the Mets dugout. And he has thrown every pitch in the first 2 innings of this game.
Oh yeah, and Reyes has seen about 3 of them. Not sure he did see a changeup earlier in this count. That split finger pitch.
Up the middle. And Omar took away a funny hop.
Nice play by Omar, reading that hop right away and charging in to get it.
Tim started to rack up the ground ball outs. That's always a good sign. And the Braves pennant race 6-pack is on sale now. Pick any 6 Braves home games. Get $10 of food and beverage for free with each ticket. That's 6 Braves games for $90 and $60 of food and beverage for free. To order, visit Braves.com/pennant pack or call 404-577-9100.
Guy rocking the Milwaukee hat there. Angel Pagan has been a lifesaver for the Mets offensively this year with all he's done, especially up to the time that Beltran came back, because he played a good center field for him too.
Into right center field, but Rick Ankiel makes the play. And you're right about Pagan. His play, along with that of Jason Bay and the return of Carlos Beltran, is one reason why Jeff Francoeur has been hanging in limbo for the New York Ball Club the last couple of weeks.
No, he went to the bench. When Beltran came back, they moved Pagan to right field. And Jeff was finding it bats hard to come by. But Jason Bay only 6 home runs for the Mets this year and over 350 plate appearances. Quite a difference from his days in Boston.
One ball, one strike. And it's still spring training for this guy.
Yeah, he's still trying to find his stroke.
I'll be interested in seeing how well he moves in the outfield, how well he can run after the knee surgery. That was a big part of his game when he was healthy with New York.
Yeah, one of the better center fielders in the game.
Dangerous David Wright on deck. 2 outs, bases clear, but a 3-1 count to Beltran.
Tim's already walked him once, and in his last start in Washington, he didn't go to a 3-ball count until the 8th inning.
Beltran, 2 walks. And Tim will have to face red-hot David Wright.
Tim's hitting the rosin bag, and he's also cleaning out his spikes a little bit. I don't know if he had a little grip issue there. You can see how much he's sweating. But a couple of fastballs that got away from him, 2-1 and then 3-1.
Another shot to right. And Jason Hayward makes the play. Tim Hudson pitches around a Beltran walk and maintains a 3-0 lead. Along Braves baseball on Sports South is presented by Academy Sports and Outdoors. The right stuff, the low price. With Joe Simpson and our crew, Chip Carey from the ballpark. Braves got 3 in the first against left-hander Johan Santana. Second start in a row that Santana has struggled out of the gate.
And got a big hit from Matt Diaz to get the first run on the board. Matt had fallen behind in the count. Got it back even and ripped a double to left. Tried to come in on him and he took care of that. I don't know that Matt's thumb is 100% yet, but it is beginning to feel better.
That'll make it feel even better. Another hard hit ball to left center field, and Diaz thinking too. And the throw will be late. Hey, a page out of Jason Hayward's playbook. Diaz thinking too at the crack of the bat.
Good hustle. Fastball right down the middle. He saw right away that it split the outfielders. Beltran a little over toward right center, had a long way to go for it, so Matt never hesitated and got in there easily.
Chance for Alex to chase home Diaz, or at the very least move him up.
Watch how little his front foot moves to allow his hands to work. When he has no stride, put his hands in action. and was really quick on that swing. Braves got a leadoff double last inning and wasted it. Can't afford to waste this one.
David Wright can keep Diaz at second. Braves 2 for 9 so far in the game with a runner in scoring position by my count.
Now, it didn't look like it, I mean, because he grounded to third, but Alex was actually trying to hit that ball to the right side. He had his hands inside, but somehow the bat kind of got out ahead of his hands and he rolled over the top of it. But especially like we've been talking about with the Braves having a hard time scoring runs. Here's that swing again. Watch him pull his hands in. And he was trying to inside out that ball, but the ball cut in a little bit and he got the outer half of the baseball. But when you're having trouble scoring runs and having trouble getting hits with runners in scoring position, man, you got to do those little things right, especially in a pennant race.
Santana, it appeared, pitched around Gloss in the first inning, and that did not work out for the Mets. And Troy, a base hit to left. Good to see him find a hole in the infield, and they're at the corners with one out.
Snaps an 0 for 9 for him, and he hit a couple of balls hard in Florida at the beginning of the road trip, but after that, hard hit balls were hard to come by. But this was a shot. I don't know that I've seen Santana leave so many pitches above the knees as he has already today. And he's not out of the third inning. No one throwing in their bullpen. Dan Warthen is the pitching coach. Omar Minaya and the Mets organization got blistered in New York by their fans and a lot of press for not doing anything at the trading deadline, but it wasn't for lack of trying. Just couldn't put a deal together.
I think it's safe to say the Mets are one of those teams that's really, as I said earlier, in limbo. Are they in the race? Are they out? They are a 53-52 club. However, they're only 6.5 games out of the division lead.
Well, you're in it. If you're only 6.5 out at the beginning of August, you're in it, especially with a lot of games left with the first place club like they do with Atlanta.
And Keel pops the first pitch he sees in the third, out of play for a strike.
These two teams have played 8 times. The Braves have lost 5 of the 8. Remember, they got swept in New York first time they went in there this year. So plenty of games left within the division. The Mets are hoping for a hot streak just to get back close. This is a big week for them on the road here and in Philly.
Rick Ankiel's first hit as a Brave, a very productive one.
2 out, rope up the middle. It played at 2 to cap the scoring in the first. And again, another change up to a lefty.
Painted the outside corner for out number 2.
Well, that looks like the pitch he threw Jason Hayward that Wally Bell called a strike. Neither one of them had the plate.
So the left-hand hitters have to be aware of that. And David Ross bats with men at the corners, 2 outs.
Not a bad idea.
now 0-2.
One more comment about the Mets with respect to are they in the race or not. It has to do with, again, some of their injuries. Their #1 catcher's out. Their left fielder that they gave a ton of money to, hoping to get some power from him, is out, but he has not been the Jason Bay they were hoping for. They finally have Beltran back, but you wonder what they think of themselves, if they think that they're capable.
Well, Santana's had a roller coaster year. Yeah, he's a man with a winning mark, but he has not been dominant. Helfrey's had some tough times since the All-Star break. They've lost John Maine to a shoulder injury. His Mets career is probably over. They're getting nothing from Oliver Perez. It has been a struggle, and it's a struggle for him tonight. 3 innings complete, and Atlanta leads New York by a 3-0 score. Good start for the Braves tonight. And we head to the Mets' 4th inning. Let's revisit our AT&T U-verse trivia question. Johan Santana, first among active pitchers in ERA. Tim Hudson's 4th. Any ideas as who's 2nd or 3rd?
I like your Halladay pick. I'll go CC Sabathia on the other one.
All right. Let's see if either one of us is right.
Here we go again. Half credit.
Ike Davis leads it off and has to shuffle his feet. Davis, part of what is a real star-studded rookie class of players in the National League this year.
And a whole bunch of them in the National League East.
And as if on cue, Davis singles leading off the 4th inning. And here's our Xfinity X Factor tonight.
Pitching in this series between these two teams this year has been very good. Mets at 188 against the Braves, and the Braves at 2.5. You see the decisions have been close, and the Mets have not fared so well in close ball games this year. They're 12-21 in 1-run games and 9-15 in games decided by 2 runs.
Boy, Jeff is still a hacking fool in the batter's box, isn't he?
He's seen 6 pitches tonight. He swung at 5 of them. so far. He averages just over 3 pitches per plate appearance. That's the 9th lowest in the National League.
I mean, he's kind of like Nate McLeod. You wonder what in the world happened. This guy was on his way to superstardom a couple of years ago with the Braves, and now you wonder how in the world maybe hitting in the mid 230s with the talent he obviously has.
You know, this game is a constant road of adjustments. You adjust to pitchers, they adjust to you. It's not like you've got to change your swing altogether, but you do have to adjust sometimes your mental approach and not be stubborn about change and making those adjustments. And just assume they're going to throw it where you're swinging. And if your swing is long, you got to do some things to try to shorten it up.
That was the task for Terry Pendleton when Jeff was here. Now it's the task of Howard Johnson, the Mets batting coach. And a high fly ball to left. Back to first is Davis with 1 out.
Like Hudson got away with a curveball there, a hanger, and Jeff just got under it. Oh boy, hung it on the inside part of the plate too, but Jeff's weight was really flying back away from the plate. His hips and everything had already come back onto his heels and didn't get much on that swing.
Ball first and third.
Henry Blanco singles up the middle.
Henry Blanco stays back nicely and lets his hands do the work on that high fastball. Let her high, and he got on top of it. Shows you the importance on a high pitch of getting up on the same plane as the pitch and not trying to uppercut it.
2 on now for Castillo, who hit a Baltimore chop right off the plate. Tim Hudson fielded it, and in his haste to get the speedy base runner, threw it to the right field corner for a 2-base error. Yohan Santana then followed with a ground out to retire the side in the second.
Tim's a little frustrated right now with his location. That ball got away from him. That breaking ball came out of his hand a little wide. Made a mistake with a fastball up to Blanco. And David Ross is trying to get him to get the ball down. You saw the target that he gave, and that pitch tailed up and away.
Castillo, one of 4 men to start at least 1 game for the Mets at second base this year. This is his 48th assignment. He's battled various injuries this year. It's only the 5th time all year he's batted 8th. He's normally their second place hitter. As Jerry Manuel, like the Braves, trying to find a way to spark his offense away from Citi Field.
Well, and only the 57th game that Castillo's played in. As you mentioned, he has been absent from the lineup too.
Chip Hales, the Mets' third base coach, and he'll make a friend behind the Mets on deck circle. Davis and Blanco aboard. Castillo up against Hudson. Got him looking. Again, the outside corner to left-hand hitters has been very generous for Wally Bell tonight.
First strikeout for Tim Hudson since he struck out Reyes to lead off the ball game, and that's almost an identical strike three call to the one to Hayward and the one to Ankiel. So turnabout was fair play there.
Sandy Alomar, who is a terrific player in his day and an excellent coach, had a saying: you can watch the game or observe the game. And if you observe it, you'll know that if it's close out there, you'd better be swinging. For the lefties in the batter's box, Castillo wasn't, and Hudson happy to take advantage.
Santana does have a home run this year. 6 for 45 after his ground out in the second inning. But if you make a mistake, he does have a bat in his hand. He could hurt you. It was his first career home run against Cincinnati.
One ball, two strikes. He also threw a 3-hit complete game shutout in that game. Have yourself a day. 1-2 pitch.
That's one of those little league days. All but throw a no-hitter, hit a home run to win the game. Just do it all.
Well, he can do that. I mean, Santana, one of the most accomplished pitchers in the game, as we showed you with the active ERA. He's been a huge second half pitcher in his major league career. Mets are hoping he can lead them on a run here in August. He is swinging it here in this fourth inning.
Yeah, and making Tim work a little harder. Those second half numbers, Chip. 62 and 19. That winning percentage, the best in Major League history.
And finally, Hudson takes care of Santana. Mets get a couple of hits and leave two runners stranded of their own. Evans, number 47, and induct him into the Braves Hall of Fame prior to the Braves-Giants game. The ceremony begins at 6:30. We encourage you to arrive early. And for the best price on single game tickets, visit Braves.com or call 800-745-3000. Tim Hudson takes the ball low. 1 ball, no strikes, and it's only apropos that the Giants are in town with their great pitching to help us honor the career of Tom Glavine.
I believe the Braves will see Tim Lincecum and Barry Zito the first 2 games of that series. I think Matt Cain pitched last night, so he would be scheduled to pitch Saturday. Sanchez perhaps on Sunday.
Yeah, Matt Cain beat the Dodgers, and it was the first time Cain had beaten LA in 15 career starts.
Good grief.
How does that happen? Good stuff. And a pop-up into shallow center. Beltran calls off Reyes. 1 out. The Braves Live crew is online right now at foxsportssouth.com. Log on, head to the Game Lounge, and chat live with Ron Gant, Fred Hickman, and insider Bill Shanks to give your insight on tonight's matchup. It's all game long, only on foxsportssouth.com. Just joining us here in the Braves 4th inning, shortly before first pitch tonight, the Braves did announce that Martin Prado placed on the disabled list with that injury to his right pinky finger. And Diori Hernandez called up from AAA Gwinnett. That means, again, Omar will get an extended run of playing time in the middle infield. Remember the great job he did filling in for Escobar earlier, for Chipper. Now he'll help out his teammate Martin Prado.
It's not often you're going to have a guy come off the bench that's an all-star and fill in.
He's got another hit. He's thinking 2. But he'll slam on the brakes. Omar Infante, a 2 for 3 night so far.
Stayed back on a 3-2 off-speed pitch. Change up. Bad location for Johan here. And Omar didn't miss it. He doesn't pull that many balls, but if you make a mistake with an off-speed pitch, he will. Big turn, but wisely stopped.
Jason Hayward drives one down the left field line, but that's caught in the corner by Angel Pagan. 2 outs.
steady diet of off-speed pitches for Chipper tonight. Mostly change-ups, but also that breaking ball that he mixes in once in a while. And here comes another one.
And it's grounded to short. And we are through 4 innings. 3 first-inning runs have stood up for Tim Hudson and the homestanding Braves. Inning number 5. And join us this Sunday, August 8th for Ultimate Kids Day at Turner Field. Kids 14 and under can participate in a pregame parade around the field, play free Scouts Alley games, meet Sid Bream and Gaylord Perry, and run the bases after the game. Upper level tickets are just $5 for kids at braves.com/summer.
Working on his Gary Sheffield stance. Switch hitter, too.
Yep.
Leadoff man aboard for the second straight inning and top of their order. Tim's had to throw a lot of pitches the last couple of innings. Here's Pagan.
He's 1 for 2. And you got to keep an eye on Reyes. As we told you, the Mets are not a real good hitting club. They are near the bottom of the pack in batting average in the league. 11th in runs scored, but they're first in stolen bases. That is when they're at their best. The way Jerry Manuel likes them to play. And they've already stolen 1 bag in tonight's game, and it was by Pagan in the first.
Yeah, you know, I almost, especially with a 3-run lead, I almost invite Reyes to go. In Ross we trust. That good throwing arm. Big lead, though, for Jose.
Close play. And just back. Foul at first. Told you after the break, Mets had a terrible road trip to the West Coast. They went 2-9. In all kinds of trouble with the Arizona Diamondbacks at Citi Field. Now come to Atlanta and then go to Philly in what could be the defining road trip of their season. Even with that bad trip, as we've mentioned a couple of times, they're one good week from leapfrogging past a couple of clubs in the division.
9 of 11 road games, 10 out of 15.
One ball, one strike.
Gahn started off in the Mets organization, but then he started doing ping pong action with the Cubs. Cubs got him for cash considerations in 2006 from the Mets. Then he ran into all kinds of injury problems with Chicago, and the Mets traded for him again, and he has really developed over the last couple of years. But again, he has battled a lot of injuries. Last year had a bone spur in his elbow and spent another stint on the disabled list with a right groin problem. But did hit .306 for him in 88 games.
Reyes is going, and the pitch skied to left.
Good try by Diaz. He was trying to play the Twilight card out there, hoping that Reyes may not be all that anxious to run back to first. He knew Jose was running, and I watched Matt. He's going to go, where is it? Where is it? I really don't see it. No, I really don't. It was a good try.
And now Beltran with Reyes at first. Carlos has walked twice.
We don't want to walk him here and bring Wright up as the potential tying run. Got that first strike. Be aggressive with him. Make Carlos put it in play.
That one gets away from Gloss, and Reyes will move to second. The second throwing error of the game for Hudson.
Was it that bad a throw? Threw it right into the runner. Wasn't that bad a throw.
That one might change. Troy did get a glove on it. But it is the second error of the game for the Braves, and Beltran now has Reyes in scoring position and only one out. And he'll drive a ball into the right field corner, and that'll score the first run of the game for the Mets. Beltran in at second with a double. His sixth RBI of the season, and the tying run will come to the plate.
Inside third, he did make him put it in play, and he hooked it into the corner. Chances are good that Reyes may have scored from first on that anyway. But it does bring the potential tying run to the plate. Wright has been aggressive early in the count with a couple of flyouts.
Both of them to right field. David with 8 runs batted in the last 3 games he's played. Flinched on a ball inside.
Mound must be awfully damp tonight. As many times as Tim's had to dig his spikes out.
To center. Two out. Sky with a purple glow tonight at sunset.
Here he goes again. Got him with a slider, but you could also see that dirt on their mud caked up on Tim's shoes right after he'd cleaned them.
I want to get some Pam cooking spray and spray it on the bottom of the cleats. Here's Ike Davis. He's 1 for 2. Told you this kid having a very impressive rookie season. 15 homers. And a handful of them have come against Braves pitching.
No reason to give in to him here. I know he represents the tying run, but you got Francoeur on deck, who is ice cold at the moment. And this kid who has been hitting some tape measure shots. Wow, got a generous call there. And Ike Davis, one of several guys that are certainly Rookie of the Year candidates, as you mentioned earlier, Chip. National League loaded with talented players. Tyler Colvin now leading in homers with 16. And Jaime Garcia back for the Cardinals off the disabled list, and he's got 9 wins.
And that doesn't even count the work of Braves reliever Johnny Vetters, who's been at or near the top in ERA among rookie pitchers all year long. Strikeouts.
Yeah, Mike Leake. We don't have room for everybody on there that is worthy.
So that'll be another great race to follow as we've turned the page to the month of August.
Another backdoor slider attempt, trying to keep the ball away from Ike Davis, whose dad was a real good relief pitcher in my era. Man, was he tough, Ron Davis. Quick discussion from David Ross, perhaps about Francoeur on deck. Just don't forget what we will be facing if we've got a runner, if we lose this guy. And they weren't even going to give him to him at all.
Third walk. First and second, 2 outs now, and it is Jeff Francoeur, and Roger McDowell will make a quick visit.
So far tonight, Jeff has seen, by my count, 10 pitches. He's swung at 7 of them. Swung at 8 of them. Thanks, Dave. And what we remember about Jeff Francoeur is that especially in RBI situations, he is not up there to take, and he will be hacking away at the very first pitch.
Was here again.
Good sinker. Worked him away. Might have even been a slider, but quite more like a two-seamer that maybe cut a little bit, that had some right to left movement on it. Same pitch. Just a little off the plate, more so than the one before. Couldn't get Francoeur to offer it that one.
Popped up. At second base, Francoeur and the Mets are retired in the 5th. They pick up a run on a Beltran double, and it's now a 3-1 Atlanta game. Fifth inning, heart of the Braves order is coming up. And let's enjoy our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot.
2 more hits tonight, both doubles. 3 doubles and a homer in his career among his 16 hits against Johan Santana, who's a pretty fair country pitcher.
I don't know about you, Pards, but this game a little too close for comfort for me.
Well, it's aggravating when you get a couple of leadoff doubles and you can't score either one of them in the 2nd and 3rd inning when the Braves had it, and then they actually had 1st and 3rd with 1 out and didn't score in the 3rd inning.
Braves, by my count, 3 for 12 so far in the game with runners in scoring position.
But one of those was that hot shot by Gloss that was struck to left field and couldn't get Diaz home.
Phillies and Marlins are idle tonight. They'll start a series down in Miami tomorrow. That'll be Sean Weston, Roy Halladay. Braves start play tonight, 2.5 games in front of the Phillies, but 3 games ahead of them in the loss column.
Those old Washington Nationals took care of the Braves 2 out of 3, and then were very close to sweeping the Phillies before dropping the last game.
And Diaz down swinging. Santana has 5 strikeouts in the game. And Alex Gonzalez comes up.
This is his changeup and a beauty. Kept it down, threw it to the middle of the plate, but the off speed had Matt out in front a little bit, had him reaching some. Santana won that battle.
So Matt's 2 for 3 tonight. Alex Gonzalez is 0 for 2, but is scoring.
Like you said at the beginning of the broadcast, Santana certainly another one of those guys that if you get a chance in the first, you got to capitalize, because he's only going to get tougher as the game goes on. And they had a chance to add to the lead and couldn't.
And you want to get this guy out of the game as fast as you can. The Mets bullpen is really weary. The Diamondbacks worked over their pen to the tune of 13 runs, 4 homers in 11 innings. But 2 strikeouts in a row starts the Braves' 5th.
Yeah, our pal Adam LaRoche, big day yesterday. 2 3-run homers, drove in 6 runs.
I didn't know you and Adam had that channeled so well yesterday. That was remarkable.
Yeah, a little connection there. Wavelength, same wavelength. Sometimes you got to go through a lot of white noise to get to Adam.
But he answered the bell yesterday.
He did indeed.
Troy Glaus singled to left his last time up. He's also walked.
With Troy's lack of power recently, and not a home run since June 19th, I think it goes to his legs. It's just so hard to exert any power, to drive off your legs when they're hurting like his have been.
But you will never, ever hear this guy complain about any physical problem he might have. And you, as a former player, I'm sure could appreciate when another player calls you a gamer. That's the ultimate compliment, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. And he hasn't asked out of the lineup, nor has he been placed in the lineup and said, hey, I don't think I can go today. But, you know, after every swing, you see him walk around. They are barking.
And Santana has just struck out the side. On we go to the 6th inning. Thankfully, Rick Ankiel, Joe, came up with a big first inning hit.
He and Matt Diaz had the RBI hits. Diaz a RBI double, and then Ankiel a 2-out bases loaded single. They gave the Braves their second and third runs, and those are big right now.
Lower third for the Mets. Blanco, Castillo, then the pitcher's spot.
Tim could use a 1-2-3 inning. He's at 95 pitches.
Dave Baker pointed out during the break, Santana's fifth was the first 1-2-3 inning pitched in this game.
Well, it was a doozy. Struck out the side, all swinging. Johnny Venners begins to loosen up in the Atlanta pen. Hudson is due up third in the sixth.
Had him off stride and a pop up to deep short. Mets have popped out 5 times in this game.
Some good breaking balls there that have fooled some of the hitters when they've been behind in the count, got out on their front foot. That was pitch number 100.
Balls and a strike.
Tim's had a little trouble with the command of his fastball tonight. He's had good movement. Sinker's moving, but he can't get it on the plate, can't get it on the corners. Here's one.
In case you wondered what Tim's pitch count high is this year, he threw 113 pitches and beat the Nationals June 28th. That's 105, and it's the second out.
And a smart play to lay off trying to catch that. He wasn't sure if he could reach it, so he wisely pulled his glove down, and Omar was right there.
Fans, Tuesday is Coca-Cola 2-for-1 Tuesday. Get 2 upper reserve tickets for the price of 1. This Wednesday, get 2 outfield pavilion tickets for the price of 1 with 2-for-1 Wednesdays. That's presented by your local Toyota dealers. Visit Braves.com or call 800-745-3000. One hopper to second. And Hudson finally has an easy inning. 3 up, 3 down. Braves look for some insurance.
For the Coors Light Freeze Cam and the cool train. Matt Diaz, first inning. Double, RBI. Check out this swing on the ultra slow-mo camera. Point of contact out in front, head down, eyes on the ball. Beautiful. Boy, did he square that one up. Coors Light Freeze Cam brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Rick Ankiel with a 2-out. Bases loaded single in the first inning. Made it a 3-0 Braves game, and now he's bidding for another hit. And he'll chug to second and double to start the inning. That's the third leadoff double in this game for the Atlanta offense.
Well, let's hope that it's the charm in getting him in. He really spoiled their defensive alignment. The infield really playing him to pull. Pitch was down the middle, but he took a nice hands inside the baseball, a little bit of an inside-out stroke, peppered it to left center for the double. Look how they were shifted around for him, and he hit it against the shift.
4 times in 6 innings, the Braves have put the leadoff man on. Now David Ross will try to advance Ankiel. Instead, he'll pop it up.
I mean, this is something that the guys do every day in batting practice. They'll put down a couple of bunts, and then they'll kind of hit with some situations. They'll pretend they're moving a runner over from like a hit and run, and then moving a runner over from second to third, and then pretend there's a runner at third, try to get him in from third with less than 2 outs. But tonight they are 0 for 3 in that situation.
And you hope it doesn't cost him. As told you, Martin Prado disabled. Diori Hernandez was swinging a very hot bat at AAA. And gets the first call off the bench in the 6th inning against Santana. 107 pitches for Hudson tonight, and 1 run allowed.
Just good to see Diori Hernandez healthy. He started the year on the disabled list. In fact, he missed all of spring training, recovering from left shoulder surgery. Came off the date in late June. Last year was up for some time, replacing Escobar. Had 85 at bats, hit a .140. For 13 actually looks pretty good compared to the way things had gone on the road trip. But another RBI would help.
Braves were 15 for 84 with runners in scoring position in the previous 9 games, including 5 for 33 in that series with the Reds.
Fortunately for Diori, the Gwinnett Braves were in town. They were home, so he just had to drive down I-85 to the ballpark.
Hitters count, 3 balls and a strike.
Young hitter at the plate, inexperienced hitter. Santana with the great changeup. He's got a base open. I almost count on him throwing Hernandez the changeup and see how he reacts to it. And he got a piece of it.
As I told you, Hernandez was a hot hitter down in Gwinnett. He had hit safely in 11 of his last 12 ball games, including a 4 for 4 game on July 31st. and didn't get a fastball. So Hernandez strikes out. That's 8 for Santana.
Up and in. Tough to catch up to. Might have been ball 4, but too close to take for Diori. So now let's see what Omar can do with 2 outs.
Santana's season high in strikeouts this year is 9. He did that against the Cardinals in his 3rd start of the year.
But again, Omar had never done much against Santana in his career, his fellow Venezuelan. Just 5 for 32 coming into tonight. But Santana's made a couple of mistakes to him, each time on an off-speed pitch on the changeup.
That one a beauty. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Henry Blanco will put a little chalk on his fingers to try to help Santana see the signs better.
Little looper, but caught. And the Braves cannot cash in their 3rd leadoff double in this game. We move to the 7th. Start in the month of August, a successful one to this point for Tim Hudson.
He had to work awful hard tonight. Over 100 pitches just to get through 6 innings. He made some good pitches when he had to, and he had some runners on base. Mets stranded 8 against him tonight. It was a good line, just 1 earned run in 6 innings. He'll turn it over to the bullpen.
And Johnny Venters is the first AT&T call to the bullpen. A chance for Johnny to turn Reyes, Pagan, and Beltran around and make them hit right-handed for the first time tonight.
Another Rookie of the Year candidate. .32 out of 46 first batters retired on the year. A good percentage. gave up that home run to Votto the other night in Cincinnati as the first run he had allowed in his last 13 outings.
Jammed Reyes. Good start to the 7th. Fetters has by a full run the lowest ERA among National League rookie pitchers. That a full run lower than Steven Strasburg of the Nationals, by the way. Venters tied for second in saves. He has one of them. John Axford has 15 for Milwaukee to lead the rookies. Johnny's been in the most games. He's pitched the 10th most innings. And he's 8th in strikeouts. Remember, he's a relief pitcher, so pretty impressive work. And by the way, lowest opponent batting average against among rookies. Lower than Strasburg, too.
Which is
174 coming in. I mean, he's been so impressive that Billy Wagner during that series in Cincinnati was quoted as saying, I can see this guy being a closer for the Braves in the not too distant future.
Sure. This is among all the National League relievers. Second.
Pops up Pagan. Two are out. Bobby Parnell loosening for New York. Oh, look at that ball disappear.
That hyper sinker at 96. See if this one finds the mark on Fox Tracks. Looks like it was a little off the plate, and it was. Got to make him hit his way aboard here. Saito's ready if needed. Left that one up just a little bit, and he got a piece of it. But 3-2, he doesn't have the luxury of being quite so fine with his eye on that sinker. You see there him having to guard the plate. Chased a bad ball. Braves will see the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey tomorrow night. They beat him up in New York last trip in right before the All-Star break.
That was on July 9th, a 4-2 Braves decision. In fact, Dickey has never beaten the Braves. He's pitched 3 times against them, one of them that start. 8 earned runs in 9 2/3 innings for the knuckleballer R.A. Dickey.
Good battle going on here. 10th pitch about to be made in this at bat. And staying with the fastball, and why not? That little wiggle you see on the sign from David Ross, probably an indication, you know, the sinker, the two-seamer. Now they're going to change to a breaking ball.
Did he go? Yes, he did.
David Ross, how about that? That was his call.
Fenders works a perfect 7th, and we stretch at Turner Field.
Braves Live, coming up after the game.
And it's been a good game. Braves in front by a 3-1 score. Back upstairs in the press box with Joe Simpson, Chip Carey. It has been another offensive struggle so far for the Braves, but 3 in the first. So far, so good.
Got Santana when they had him on the ropes in the first inning to put 3 on the board, but they haven't been able to put anything else across. It's despite 3 leadoff doubles tonight. In fact, none of those guys that have doubled have advanced, have they? Or did Diaz? Yeah, Diaz made it to third in the 3rd inning.
Braves in this game 3 for 15 with runners in scoring position. Somehow lead the game. Tim Hudson was outstanding in his 6 innings of work, allowing just 1 run. And the 2, 3, 4 spots try to add on here against this lefty who has struck out 8 men in this game, 1 shy of his season high.
That was a great call, though, to end the inning. Going to the slider by David Ross, and then great execution by Venners.
Jason struck out on the inside corner this time. Outside corner in the 2nd, inside here in the 7th.
9 strikeouts for Santana. Fox Tracks tells us that one was well located.
Chipper's 0 for 3.
Another change up to him. The only two guys in the lineup that haven't struck out tonight.
In the air, left center field, well hit. Beltran back at the wall. It's out of here.
All number 10 needs is to see a Mets uniform, and he can get going again. Laid off the changeup on the first pitch. A little more patient this at bat, and that's a big run for Atlanta.
And now Diaz sends a shot foul.
Waited back, waited, got it out front. And let that big bat do the work.
And Diaz down swinging. That's 10 for Santana. A new season high. But Chipper Jones provides some insurance.
And he actually got out there a little bit quick with that front foot, but kept his hands back. Watch out when the front foot gets out there, and keep an eye on his hands because they didn't go with his foot. So they're still back. He's got a lot left. He's loaded up. Down and got it.
And his 434th lifetime home run that moves him into a tie for 37th in the history of the game with Juan Gonzalez. Next up is Hall of Famer Andre Dawson.
How about Dave Kingman in there in that list? The guy had a career batting average of about 205.
Yeah, but I wonder if you added up the yardage, where Kingman would rank. As Alex pops one back our way, foul. I mean, when King Kong hit him,
oh mercy,
they went forever.
I think it was Kingman that hit the one in Old Olympic Stadium up in Montreal that hit the underside of the roof. And the umpires had to debate whether it was fair or foul. They had to wind up painting a line on the roof in case it ever happened again. 236 career hitter.
With over 400 some odd home runs.
Yeah. 442.
Santana, though, strikes out the side again, has 11 in the game. But Chipper Jones' first home run since July 15th gives the Braves a little more breathing room. And after 7, Atlanta now leads the Mets by a 4-1 score.
Our Airtran, how far did it fly home run? Chipper's 43rd against the New York Mets went 398 feet. It's our Airtran, how far did it fly home run?
And Bobby Cox makes another AT&T call to the bullpen and brings on veteran right-hander Takashi Saito. David Wright, the first to greet him. Melky Cabrera checks into play left. He'll bat ninth. Saito bats in Matt Diaz's spot in the order. That was fourth.
Bobby likes to bring in Saito to start an inning. He likes him to start with a clean inning. In fact, he's only inherited 3 runners all year. And of his first batters, he's retired 33 of 40.
His stuff crackling good, it would appear, in the 8th. That pitch at 93 with movement. Well, you're not going to get too many straight pitches with the trio of Hudson, Venters, and Saito, are you?
No. And the pickup of Kyle Farnsworth was so huge for Atlanta, especially where this guy's concerned.
Right flies to center. And Keel hardly has to move.
The point is that it's very rare that Bobby can use Takashi Saito on consecutive nights. He's got to be very judicious on the nights where he does that. More often than not, he needs a night off between outings. So having Farnsworth gives the team depth where they can go to Farnsworth on those alternate nights as a setup guy.
Braves are still missing one very important component in their pen, and that's Eric O'Flaherty, who's been out with a viral infection. Eric's starting to throw the baseball, but not yet ready to come back. One and two. And a chance for the Braves to pick up a half game on the Marlins and Phillies. They're idle. They play tomorrow night in the series opener. Could push the Mets a full 7.5 games back in the East.
Washington went west. They're out in Arizona tonight. How about the Astros? The Astros have the longest winning streak in the National League right now, 5 games. They led the Cardinals tonight at one point, but trail now 3-2 after 5.
They start play tonight just a half game behind the Cubs.
Wow.
In the Central Division. To first. And Gloss takes it to the bag himself. And 2 are retired. Now it's time for a money and energy saving bright idea from Georgia Power. Set your thermostat to 78 degrees Fahrenheit in the summer. Go to GeorgiaPower.com for more energy saving tips. Georgia Power, a Southern company. Astros made some news yesterday. Today they locked up Brett Myers to a long-term contract.
You know what? Good for him. Went to Houston, kind of ran him out of Philadelphia on a rail, and he went to Houston and had a good year. It's funny, but the Astros over the last couple of 3 years have been a terrific second half team. For whatever reason, they're a little too far now. But after trading Oswalt and Berkman, wouldn't it be something if they really put on a good second half without those guys?
Francoeur rifles that ball back up the middle. That snaps a long hitless streak for Jeff. And a 1-for-4 night so far for the Mets right fielder.
Better that it come there than when they had first and second and 2 out in the 5th.
So the Mets will go to their bench. And it's Chris Carter.
Backup catcher who will replace Henry Blanco is out on deck. Look, he might pinch hit for Castillo. We'll see.
And Carter continues to hit Braves pitching. Carter 4 for 9 in his career against Atlanta. Singles with 2 outs. Francoeur stops at second, and the Mets bring the potential tying run to the plate in the form of Josh Tolley.
Fought this one off. Breaking ball, kind of a slider that was sweeping in there. He waited back, fought it off. Tying run to the plate, and this guy's 5 for 8 as a pinch hitter this year.
Mets called him back up on June 28th. But a lot of holes in the swing of Tolle of late. Just 3 for his last 26.
Still have a couple more left-handed pinch hitters available to him on the bench. Alex Cora and Feliciano. Jesus Feliciano.
Mets using their lefties now because they know Wagner's waiting for the 9th. And that's slicing into the seats foul. And the count 1-2. Another good crowd at the ballpark tonight. 33,030 the paid attendance.
Braves had really good numbers in that last homestand when the Padres were in town. Had a lot of walk-up ticket sales.
Braves are averaging over 30,000 fans a game. And if they stay in first place on into September, they've got a great shot at getting over 2.5 million. We appreciate that. Great energy at the ballpark tonight.
Toley's up the knob of the bat, choked up a little bit. Spot off some fastballs. We'll see if Takashi goes to that patented big curveball of his for the out.
To first. Saito does the job in the 8th. Mets get a pair of 2-out singles, and that is all. Bottom of the 8th inning. Atlanta 4-1. The Mets, that's the subject of our Airtran Airways upcoming schedule.
R.A. Dickey and Derek Lowe tomorrow. Mike Pelfrey against Chris Medlin on Wednesday. Both those games will be on Peachtree TV. Then the Giants come to town. Should be a good week of baseball here in Atlanta before the Braves head back out on the road. After Sunday's game, they head to Houston for 3 and then come back home for 8 days.
Defensive changes for the Mets. Josh Tolle in behind the plate. Alex Cora is at second base. And Bobby Parnell on in relief of Johan Santana, who again got no offensive support while pitching against the Braves. A shot down the right field line by Gloss is foul.
Santana came in his career in 10 starts against the Braves with 1.6 runs per start of support. Tonight he got 1 run.
But he gave up 4 despite striking out 11. And is in danger of falling to 2-6 in his major league career against the Atlanta Braves, despite an earned run average around 2.5.
It'll go down tonight. Well, maybe. No, it won't. It'll go up a little bit. He's the guy that gave up 4, not 1.
Well, with 11 strikeouts, it maybe didn't feel like 4 because it was such a struggle for the Braves to get him. Atlanta 3 for 15 in runners in scoring position tonight. And Gloss took strike 3. Good thing Rick Ankiel was swinging the bat in the first inning. A big hit.
Our Coors Light Cold Hard Blast bases loaded, 2 outs, and roped this one up the middle just past Louis Castillo. And drove in 2 runs to cap the 3-run first. His first hit and his first RBIs in an Atlanta uniform.
His first extra base hit came in the 6th inning, so Rick's 2 for 3 in the game. Glenn Hubbard can still pick it over at first. And strike 1.
Good sign tonight, I think, for Mankiel was his bats against one of the better left-handed pitchers in the National League, in Johan Santana. Nice if he's in there every day and can hold his own against lefties, something that his numbers said for this year weren't very good against left-handed pitching. Under 200.
Rick swings through it and is the second strikeout for Parnell. Well, Moms, Sunday, August 15th, you can spend the day at the ballpark with your son for an afternoon of baseball at Turner Field. Each package includes a special discounted ticket, a Mother's Sunday t-shirt, and a pregame parade around the field. Visit that website address for ticket information. This guy's throwing some serious heat. That pitch at 97.
4 straight Braves have struck out, 5 of the last 6. The only interruption was Chipper's homer in the 7th. 13 in all tonight have fanned. '98. Home run by Chipper, right-handed, by the way, his 3rd of the year. He's hit 5 left-handed.
Well, you said at the start of the show, the Braves in the second half need Chipper to be a run producer. He produced a big one tonight.
100 miles an hour on that pitch from Mr. Parnell. Wagner ready for the 9th. .100. Nice. Tune it up, David.
And then an 87-mile-an-hour breaking ball.
Yeah.
Almost not fair. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Mentioned the Astros earlier tonight. They're in St. Louis this evening. Cardinals are firing their newest acquisition at the Astros. Jake Westbrook is on the mound, or was on the mound, for St. Louis.
Jake Westbrook's a good pitcher. That was an excellent pickup. Guy who was on the so-called second tier among pitchers that were eligible or available but we've seen him pitch some good games against the Braves in spring training or in those games here at Turner Field right before the season starts.
And David Ross rips one into left center field.
Good at bat, and he earned that one. Looked like another one of those 87-mile-an-hour sliders, and he just zeroed it. Yep, slider that started in and came back to the middle of the plate. Good swing by Ross and a good at bat. Jake Westbrook, 6 innings, 4 hits. He's given up 2 runs. He struck out 7 tonight for the Cardinals, and he's still going.
Yeah, you think a guy that could throw a heavy sinker is going to flourish under Dave Duncan?
You bet.
Cardinals and Reds in a bitter struggle for the Central lead. And Cabrera rips that past David Wright, who is well off the line. So the Braves have a couple of 2-out hits.
That defensive alignment a little surprising, wasn't it? Good for Melky to take advantage of it. The guy's throwing 100 miles an hour. Left-handed hitter up there. You might think he could be a little bit late on one. But David Wright was almost playing like a shift. You see Reyes way up the middle, too. So good placement by Melky.
Dan Warthen is the Mets pitching coach. And they'll discuss strategy with Infante coming up. A lot of fans wonder if there'll be any more trades. Almost certainly there will be after the deadline. One name you can cross off that list tonight is Corey Hart. Milwaukee signed him tonight to a 3-year contract extension.
I wonder if that would have been different had he not injured his wrist right before the deadline, if there were some teams trying to acquire him. Because he missed 4 or 5 days, I think, after running into the wall.
Now their decision is, what do they do with Prince Fielder? Here's Omar. Another 2-hit game for him, and he scored a first-inning run. Parnell got the first 2 hitters, Gloss and Ankiel, with very little incident.
Yeah, pretty much just blew fastballs right by those guys. I think he threw a slider to Troy to strike him out. The old saying among ball players is you can time a jet. If you throw hard enough and throw it often enough and throw it straight enough, these major league hitters are going to time it at some point.
And that foul ball was straight back to the screen. Braves tonight going for their 60th win of the season. Braves didn't pick up win number 60 last year until the 12th of August. In fact, a year ago today, the Braves were 7 games out of first place. They're 2.5 up tonight.
If they can simulate the finish they had last year, trying to find a way to chase down the Rockies for the wild card spot, they'll be just fine, because they played some great ball the last 6 weeks of the season. A little tight to Omar, who's got pretty much everything covered there, pretty much everything protected. He's got the elbow guard. He's got a wrist guard. And he's got his batting glove with that protective device where he suffered a broken hand last year.
Full count pitch. to second. Alex Cora sends this game to the 9th inning. Atlanta 4, Mets 1. Billy Wagner, we presume, will try to save it for Tim Hudson.
Tim Hudson tonight, who had to work real hard through his 6 innings of work, over 100 pitches, but his last 3 starts had about a 0.87 ERA. Good work. And again, this would be the 5th out of his last 7 starts where he's given up 0 or 1 run.
Mike Hessman will lead off the Mets' 9th. And he jumps all over a first pitch fastball and hits that a mile into the second deck foul. Well, that's a very loud AT&T call to the bullpen as Billy Wagner's on for the 9th.
Well, Mike Hessman can hit a fastball. He's had great power numbers in the minor leagues and a lot of strikeouts, and originally was in the Braves organization. Got to admire Hessman's perseverance. He's 32 years old. Has accumulated about 1 year total in the big leagues prior to this call up.
After a couple of rough outings against the Marlins and Padres, Billy has turned in saves in his last 2 outings. And he pops Hessman up. This thing may bring rain a mile high. And 1 out.
That was not easy. I mean, that thing was up there and almost straight up the chute for Alex.
Here's Reyes.
Billy Wagner spent 3 healthy years with the Mets, and then 2009 last year started with New York, came back from his Tommy John surgery, pitched in 2 games for New York before he went to Boston. Had consecutive seasons of 40 saves, 34, then 27 the year he got hurt.
Billy enters 15 behind John Franco for the most ever by a left-handed relief pitcher.
No one on the Mets team has more than one hit against him in their career.
Another pop-up. Wagner gives way behind the mound.
I don't know how Reyes hit that ball, to be honest with you. That was a slider biting in on him, and I think it was either hit or be hit. He's going right in toward his right knee.
Listen to this crowd at Turner Field as Wagner's 1 out away. There's your ball game. And in his home debut, Rick Ankiel had himself quite a ball game.
He's our Home Depot player of the game. A good way to start the homestand. Good way for Rick Ankiel to start this part of his career in a white Braves uniform with a couple of big hits.
So the Braves beat the Mets by a final of 4-1. Tim Hudson the win, Billy Wagner the save, and the Braves 3 games in front in the National League East.